Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and hit the bell so you get notified of any new videos that I post. Today I'm going to be showing you how to forge a knife from a wrench. I'm going to be sharing any of the tips and tricks that I wish I would have known when I started making these. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the wrenchy bit. I've left it on before, but when I did that, you just have other issues you gotta fix along the way. You have to forge weld it back into one solid piece, and it's just a lot easier. So if you're worried about the length, just find a longer wrench. The first thing I'm gonna do is get the tip forged out. Now instead of hitting it directly onto the top, I hit it more at a diagonal. This is going to give you the better shape, and it will flare it out a little bit, so you're going to have to flip it over and hammer it back straight. One thing I like to do early on is really define where the blade is and where the handle is. My earlier knives, I didn't do that, and the handle just went straight into the blade, and it looked funny, and I couldn't figure it out for a long time. So in the beginning now, I at least make that mark for me so I know where my blade is going to be, where the handle is going to be. It just helps in the long run. I also, every time that I'm hitting the blade, I like to flatten it all back out before I put it into the forge again. This way I don't have a lot to correct later on. Now, you'll see me hit the steel with the peen end of the hammer. What this does, if I hit it this way, it's going to lengthen the blade. If I hit it this way, then it's going to widen it more. When I'm hammering in the bevels, I tilt my knife up so the spine is off the anvil and I'm hitting the edge. Now when you're doing this, it's going to force the tip of the knife up, so you're gonna have to straighten that back out if you don't want it so much of a curve. I've got the basic shape done that I want, so now I'm gonna take it to the grinder. I'm just gonna finish off the final shaping on there. I'm going to remove some of the thickness from the handle. It was sticking out a little bit too far. I'm just going to bring it more flush so it doesn't stick out. I mark the center of the blade, use magic marker, and then these digital calipers. Just put a line through it so I know where I can stop grinding on each side. Before I really start the grinding, I'm going to clean off the scale from forging, just so I can see better what I'm going to be doing. I like to get it just a little bit cleaner. Then I'm going to pick a spot where I'm not going to grind past. And if you don't have a file guide, you do this by eye. And in this rough grinding, you can make a couple mistakes and you'll be able to fix them, but after you heat treat, you're gonna have to be a lot more careful. So you really want to define that spot. You want to be careful to apply equal pressure to all parts of the blade when you're grinding. If you don't, you apply more pressure in a certain area, your grind lines, they're gonna start curving up. You want to have it as straight as possible. What I'm doing right now, I'm just about to that center grind line that I made. My thickness that I want the blade to be before my heat treat is about the thickness of a dime. If it's any thinner than that, then when I quench, there's a good chance the blade will warp. You can see how hot the blade is right after I dip it in the water. Steam coming off. got the edge, the thickness that I want. Now I can start the heat treating process. I'm going to be doing 3 normalizing cycles. Normalizing, you're heating the blade up to critical temperature, which is when the magnet doesn't stick to it anymore and you let it cool. And what this does, it relieves the stress that you put in the blade from forging. If you don't do this, there's a good chance your blade will warp and you'll have to repeat the process over again. So I'm getting the blade to a uniform temperature. I'm going by color. Once it looks like it's the right color, I test it with the magnet. If it doesn't stick to it, and that's the temperature I want, I can let it cool. I'm preheating the oil. I want it to be 130 to 150 degrees. So right before, it's about 47 degrees, and I haven't preheated it at all. I stick a different wrench in there that I use as just to preheat it. So after this preheating, the temperature was 152 degrees, which is right about where I want it when I actually quench. So I ended up doing it again, got it to 180. And then by the time I actually quenched my knife, it was 145 degrees, 150, right where I ended up wanting it. I heat this blade to just a little bit above critical temperature where the magnet wouldn't stick to it anymore, and I quench it. Give it about 2 seconds with 1095 steel to actually quench the blade. You gotta do it quick. Just wanna make sure there's no oil around that you can knock over. I've done that before. I almost set my garage on fire. Right here I'm making sure it's straight. Right now I'm testing with the file. If the file bites into it and doesn't go over it smoothly, then it didn't harden, but it skated right over it. It shows me that the hardening was successful. I put it in my oven at 400 degrees for 2 2-hour cycles, and that tempers it. It makes it not so brittle, gives a little bit of flex in the knife so it won't snap if I'm hitting something. I use my wire wheel to clean it up and do the final grinding before I can test it. I tried it on paper first. Very sharp, sliced right through it. Didn't have a bamboo stick, so tested it out with some celery. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Hit the like button if you found this video helpful. I'll see you guys next Tuesday.